anti-competitive agreements a number of times. We have discussed that the anti-competitive agreements are of two types. One is the vertical anti-competitive agreements and another the horizontal anti-competitive agreements. In the last class, we discussed what are the horizontal anti-competitive agreements. In the last class, we discussed that the horizontal anti-competitive agreements are those agreements which are that is entered into between the persons or the enterprises which are carrying on the same kind of business. And there are the four activities that is given under section 3.3 if the agreement, that is the horizontal agreement, is related to any of these four activities, then it is presumed to be, that is, in that case it is presumed to be violating the provisions of the Competition Act. And the four activities, can anybody tell me what are the four circumstances which are given under section 3.3 regarding which, if the enterprises or the persons enter into an agreement, then it means they are entering into the horizontal anti-competitive agreements. Anyone? Yes, Shefali Pita.
Ma'am, price fixing, limiting production, market sharing, and bid rigging.
Wonderful, Shefali. So if the agreement is related to any of these three activities, it means that the parties are entering into horizontal anti-competitive agreements. And what we discussed, that if the horizontal anti-competitive agreements are entered into, then what would be the consequence of entering into these horizontal anti-competitive agreements? Then we discuss that these agreements are presumed to be affecting the competition within India. It means these are anti-competitive. If such kinds of agreements are entered into, then it means they are horizontal anti-competitive agreements. Now, being horizontal anti-competitive agreements, then these are void agreement, and this rule is known as the Per-se rule. And today we will discuss the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Now the first question is, what are these vertical anti-competitive agreement? And we discuss also that what are the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Now the vertical anti-competitive agreements are those agreements which are entered into the persons or the associations which are not at the same which are not at the level of the same production chain, or in the other words we can say an agreement between the enterprises or persons which are carrying on the different types of business. Now those such kind of agreement would be termed as the vertical agreement. For example, if suppose agreement is concluded between the car manufacturer and the supplier of steel. Again, I am repeating, suppose a agreement is concluded between a car manufacturer and the supplier of steel. So what kind of agreement is it? Is it vertical or is it horizontal? Yes, is it vertical or horizontal?
Ma'am, vertical.
I'm waiting. Shefali is saying vertical, but I think Shefali is not correct. Can anybody correct the Shefali? Yes. Can anybody correct the Shefali? Yes, Ashika. Please tell me whether Shefali is wrong or right. According to me, she is wrong. Yes, Ashika. Okay, Akash.
Ma'am,
हाँ जी बेटा आशिका.
ma'am, can you please repeat the example?
अब एग्जाम्पल क्या था? सपोज देर इज एन एग्रीमेंट बिटवीन car manufacturer and the steel supplier. Now Shefali has just told us that this is the example of the vertical agreement. Now tell me, is it example of vertical or not? I think Shefali is wrong.
Ma'am, I guess vertical only.
It is vertical only. Wonderful, Shefali and Ashika. This is the example of the vertical agreement because now what are the business of these two entities? One is car manufacturer and other is the supplier of that is steel. It means they are not at the same level of in the production change. So therefore the agreement concluded is what? That is a vertical agreement. Now the section 3(4) of the Competition Act provides for the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Now let us see what is given under section 3(4) of the Competition Act. I hope the screen is visible. Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now section 3(4) says that what are the vertical agreements, what are the vertical anti-competitive agreements, and when the vertical anti-competitive agreements are entered into, then what would be the consequence of this vertical anti-competitive agreement. Now the section 3(4) says first there are two conditions which are to be satisfied by the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Now let us see that what are those two conditions given under section 3(4). The first condition is that it is agreement between enterprises or the persons. Now which persons or which enterprises? That which belongs to the, that is these different levels of the production change, first condition. And second, now this agreement must be related to what? Either production or supply or distribution or storage, sale or the trade in goods or the provision of services. When these two conditions are satisfied, then we can call them, in that case the section 3(4) would be applicable. Again I am repeating, there are the two conditions. First, the enterprises or the person involved in the agreement must belong to the different stage of the production change. Second, and the agreement must be relating to this either production, supply, distribution, storage of the goods or the provisions of services, etc. Now, if these two conditions are satisfied by a vertical agreement, then the question is what would be the consequence of such agreement. Now this is given in the last part of the section 3(4). Now the last part of the section 3(4) says ki when an agreement satisfied these two conditions, then what would be the consequence or effect? That agreement shall be an agreement in contravention of subsection 1 if such agreement causes or is likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect on the competition. It means this part say that if the vertical agreement is between the two parties which belongs to the different level of the production change, and plus second condition, if these two parties are entering into an agreement regarding the production, supply, storage, etc. of the goods, and plus third, one more condition is given that these vertical agreement would contravene the section 3 of the Competition Act only when this agreement causes the appreciable adverse effect on competition in India. It means if the vertical agreement is entered into, now they are not presumed to be anti-competitive. In this case, first of all, it is to be proved that these agreements which are relating to this production, supply, etc., are distorting or reducing or eliminating the competition within India. Only then this agreement would be presumed or deemed to be violating the section 3 of the Competition Act, and this is called as the rule of reason. It means, suppose there is a person A which is making an allegation against the, again I am taking the same example, that there are two parties. One is the car manufacturer, enterprise A, which is a car manufacturer, and the enterprise B, that is a steel supplier. Now they are entering into an agreement, and there is a person P that is alleging that whatever agreement is entered into between A and B, that is the vertical anti-competitive agreements in that case. Now this person P first of all has to prove, yes, that this vertical anti-competitive agreement is affecting the competition. Only then it is deemed that these vertical agreements are violating the section 3(1) of the Competition Act, and this is the rule of reason. And we have also discussed that in case of an horizontal agreement, if the horizontal agreement satisfied all the conditions which are given under section 3, then they are presumed to be anti-competitive. It means it is presumed that they are distorting or reducing or eliminating the competition within India. It means in this case, the parties, alleged party, have to prove that yes, they have not entered into an horizontal anti-competitive agreement, and this rule is based on that is the per se rule. I hope now you have understood that what are the horizontal agreements, what are the vertical agreements, why different subsections have been framed for the horizontal anti-competitive agreements and the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Horizontal anti-competitive agreements are presumed to be affecting competition, but in case of a vertical agreement, it is to be proved first that yes, they are affecting the competition in India. Now again I am moving back to the section 3(4). Now we have discussed this first paragraph. Now what is left? That including again 5 names of the agreements are given here. So it means, if I say, now please listen carefully, if I say, if an agreement, if the any of the agreement which is mentioned in section 3(4) is entered into, it means that the parties are entering into that is the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Yes, am I right or wrong? These are the only 5 agreements in which the agreement can be termed as the vertical anti-competitive agreement if these agreements if these agreements affect the competition within India. Yes, सिर्फ यही 5 एग्रीमेंट्स को ही कवर करता है सेक्शन 3(3) या किसी और एग्रीमेंट्स को भी कवर करता है?
Ma'am, I don't think the list is exhaustive. Anything that covers production, supply, distribution, storage, sale should be included.
May I know who is answering?
Ma'am, Ria.
Ria. Wonderful, Ria. Ria is absolutely right? Now, why this is so? That this section 3.4 is not only restricting to only these 5 types of agreements which are mentioned here, because the section 3.4 says any agreement, means any vertical agreements, and of course these 5 types of, that is the vertical agreements, are mentioned in this section 3.4. But otherwise, any vertical agreement which have a adverse effect on the competition within India is covered by this section 3.4. Wonderful, Riya, once again. And now let us see what are these 5 types of vertical agreements. Now the first is the tie-in agreement. Now what is this tie-in agreement? Now suppose that I need a, suppose, t-shirt. So, and I want to purchase a t-shirt of a particular brand, because that t-shirt of a particular brand is of superior quality. Now, and when I go to buy the t-shirt, there I find that if I want to buy that t-shirt, then I have to buy a wristwatch also. If I don't buy the wristwatch, then I cannot buy that t-shirt, because the purchasing of that t-shirt is tied with that is the purchase of the wristwatch. Now in this case an agreement is entered into, and that agreement is tie-in agreement. Now tying is agreement means when the purchase of one product that is conditional on the purchase of another product also. Now in this case, if I want a t-shirt, then I also have to buy that is the wristwatch. So therefore an agreement which is concluded between the t-shirt manufacturer and the wristwatch manufacturer, that is a vertical agreement. First condition is satisfied, that both are belongs to the different level of the production change, and now there is a, that is, and the second, that if I want to buy t-shirt, then I have to buy this, that is wristwatch also. Now this agreement would be tying in vertical agreement, but in this case for the application of section 3.4, what we have to prove that this agreement is also affecting the competition. If it could not be proved, in that case the section 3 would not be applicable. Now the next is the agreement, next vertical agreement is the exclusive supply agreement. Now what is this exclusive supply agreement? Now in this case there are two enterprises. One is the manufacturer of a product and another is the distributor of a product. Now if an agreement is concluded between this that is the manufacturer and the distributor of the goods, that the distributor would only, that is, deal in the goods of that manufacturer only. In that case, what kind of vertical agreement is entered into? That is the exclusive supply agreement. Now next is the exclusive distribution agreement. Now again, in this case the one party is the manufacturer and another party is what? That is the distributor. And when the manufacturer agreed that he will supply its goods only to one distributor or a group of distributor, if such agreement is entered into, then it is called the exclusive distribution agreement. Now the next is refusal to deal. Now we can easily make out by the naming of this agreement, that is refusal to deal. Now there is a refusal. Now refusal regarding what? The refusal means again, there are the two party. One is the seller and that is manufacturer, and another is the distributor. If the seller says that I will sell my goods only to that is a specified distributor, or the distributor says either way that we would that is the deal in the goods offer, that is a specific manufacturer. Now this is the example of the refusal to deal. And the last one is the resale price maintenance. Now resale price maintenance here means, now again there are two. One is the manufacturer of the product, and another is the distributor of that product. Now if the manufacturer of a product says that the distributor has to sell that good at a fixed price, stipulated at a price which is stipulated by the manufacturer, then this is called the resale price maintenance. And let us see how it is given. Now all these terms are that is given as an explained as an explanation to the same subsection. Please read the others explanation at home. Now I am dealing with this, the fifth one, that is the resale price maintenance. Now this explanation E2 section 3.4 says that resale price maintenance means any agreement to sell goods on the condition that the price to be charged on the resale by the purchaser shall be the price stipulated by the seller. So it means when the seller decides at which price his goods would be sold, it means that is the example of the resale price maintenance. But there is also an exception to this rule. Now what is that exception? The exception is unless it is clearly stated that prices lower than those prices may be charged. And suppose a price is stipulated and it is also given that you cannot sell at an higher price than which is stipulated, but you can sell at a lower price which is stipulated. If this condition is imposed, okay, the price is set by the seller, but the goods can be sold at a lower price than the stipulated. In that case, that would not be covered under this resale price maintenance. Now let us take an example to discuss. Now suppose the manufacturer of the goods and the distributor of the goods, an agreement is entered into. Now the manufacturer says, suppose that is the manufacturer of a pen, then he says that you can sell this pen up to the price of 50 rupees. It means that the maximum price at which you can sell the product is the 50 rupees. And if such agreement is entered into, can we say that the resale price maintenance vertical agreement is entered into? I am again repeating, if it is agreed between the manufacturer of a pen or the distributor of a pen that the maximum price at which the pen can be sold is 50 rupees. So is it example of the resale price maintenance? Yes, think and decide.
Yes,
is
ma'am.
it? Yes, ma'am. Please raise your hand. If anyone wants to answer, please raise your hand so that I could know. I'm waiting. Shefali. Yes, beta Shefali.
Yes, ma'am.
Shifali is saying yes. But beta Shifali, why this is the example of the resale price maintenance? Yes,
Ma'am,
beta.
because the manufacturer has already fixed the price in which the distributor will be selling it.
Okay, very good try, Shifali. Can anybody wants to answer? Okay, no. Listen carefully. Shefali is right that the price is that is given by the seller, that what price is given, that the goods, the maximum price that can be charged for a pen is 50 rupees. If the maximum price can be charged on the good is 50 rupees, so we can say that if the distributor want to sell that pen at a 40 rupees, so can distributor sell that pen at 40 rupees? Yes. क्या डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर उस पेन को 40 रुपीस में सेल कर सकता है अकॉर्डिंग टू द एग्रीमेंट? हाँ जी बताइए बच्चे, क्या उस पेन को 50 रुपए से कम की कीमत में भी वो उसको सेल कर सकता है या नहीं कर सकता? शिफाली, सॉरी बेटा, क्या आप इसको आंसर कर सकते हो बच्चे? शिफाली
Ma'am, no, he cannot sell it at the price lower than
अच्छा,
what
वो सेल
was
नहीं कर
stated.
सकता.
No,
ठीक है,
ma'am.
ओके, वेरी गुड टाइप बच्चे, वंडरफुल. Now listen carefully, dears. There can be three kinds of that is two kinds of this price fixing. One is a fixed price. When we say fixed price, it means that pen cannot be sold above 50 rupees or below 50 rupees. If this is the situation, then it is the fixed price. Now, if I have just told you that the maximum price at which this pen can be sold is 50 rupees. यानी कि 50 rupees is the maximum price. अगर वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर उसको 60 में सेल करना चाहता है तो वो नहीं सेल कर सकता, लेकिन अगर वो उसे 50 रुपीज से कम में सेल करना चाहता है तो वो उसे सेल कर सकता है. Yani if he wants to sell at 45 or 40 rupees, that can be done by the distributor. Only what cannot be done by the distributor, that maximum price is fixed 50. अगर 50 से वो 51 rupees में भी उसको sell करना चाहता है goods को, that cannot be done. So this situations covers the exception. Again, I am taking to the exception. What is that? Purchaser shall the resale by the purchaser shall be the price stipulated by the seller unless it is clearly stated that the prices lower than those prices may be charged. So it means if the maximum price is given and if the goods can be sold at a lower price than the mentioned price, it means that is not the example of the resale price maintenance. Yes, students, I hope now you have understood. Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
जी बेटा. With this we have completed this part, that is the vertical agreements. I will that is upload on the file section of your Microsoft Teams the problem based 2 questions, and you please work on that, and tomorrow we will discuss those problem based question. And if any student have any doubt or a question, please. Okay, students, if no doubt and no question, then I think I should take the attendance. So please now attend your roll call.